9085672.
At Salinas Park.
Okay, we're fine. 1023.
Advice location 642.
Across from the VFW in 12th Street.
157.
77 southbound, 1717. William Lincoln Frank, 0246.
DC 0 dispatch. Alright.
And then the hearse broke down, so I'm just gonna stand by for traffic control.
A recent kernel, recent drivers, so you should be able to run that on any computer without any problem. So to conclude on Cosmic and Pop OS, I love what they've done. It is a fantastic first draft of a desktop. It is still a first draft. The applications are bare bones, the settings are very bare bones, and you can clearly see that some stuff is not animated as it should be, some stuff isn't as smooth as it should be. There are some performance problems when opening and closing apps. Not sure if it's
Receive. Go ahead.
They're still working on locating the rider. The reporting said he saw 2 cars stop before he called. Motorcycle looks like it belongs to a guy named Gavin Clark, who lives on Indian Trail. I'm gonna see if he's gone home.
There's a burglary open door, raising a vacant house. There's got the gate and the back door are open. The back door looks kicked in. The caller's a neighbor. They haven't seen anybody around the property. There's 4 pending operated recalls and a minor that just dropped.
Right. 10-4. What was the last comment on the property, the vacant property being open? Radio kind of dropped out.
20?
That's the reporting party hasn't seen anybody in or around the property.
Alright, reduce the priority level to that. That's not going to be a priority call. So the traffic and habitation.
Okay.
1209, show me out my residence.
Oversight resident.
Six 42.
642.
When the call came in, did the RP state that they saw the gentleman with the injuries on the motorcycle?
The RP said he saw a crash with a motorcycle and injury to his eye. $12.05 in Bravo 110.
Bravo 110.
Bravo 110, you're being your personal info. 10-4.
Do you have the 28 for the motorcycle?
Negative.
10-4, let me know when you're ready to copy.
for 450 truck. Vehicles recovered at Burn Shields, Authority 5328. Second clear vehicles, license plate Frank Paul Williams, 3443. Blue 2005 Buick. This one was released to the owner, recovered by the owner. Authority SBDO at 1219.
Three.
Cover.
Charlie 180, clear comments.
Alright.
1103.
Okay.
$21.41 ambulances in route to here.
Bravo 110, 3 and 4 attached, correct?
10-4 for the next few minutes.
I'll be 10-8, citation issued.
3986, 10-4, 642.
Be advised, they located the gentleman. He's going to be at 1943 Indian Trail. He left with another vehicle and got taken to his residence.
642, 10-4. Certain city unit.
12-10, go ahead.
Residential alarm 643 North Pirate, 643 North Pirate, back door, Fletcher residence.
10-4. Charlie 180, I'll take one half of the Bravo units.
10-4.
7, leaving Molina Veterans Park, all clear.
And I'll take it. I'll keep going.
10-4. Bravo 111, you're clear.
Bravo 111, clear.
Readvise.
10-4. Gavin Clark, Eden House, 1943 Indian Trail.
Received. And are you still needing EMS?
10-4.
Received.
205, I'm out for you.
That identifies early
Units be advised, EMS en route to City Hall for a 7-year-old female who fell down awake, conscious and breathing.
June 12. I'm going to clear from this wreck over here, and I'm going to head to City Hall.
that identifies early.
Received.
This weird scissor-replacing gadget is quickly becoming the most popular Christmas gift of 2024. It makes breaking down boxes and cutting tough materials easier than ever, eliminating the need for scissors or box cutters. My husband got me one for Christmas, and at first I thought it looked kinda crazy, but
identifies early.
Study 1024 from District Court. Yeah, at the office.
638, 10-4.
Three Charles 1006, County.
1006, go ahead.
3 Charles 1006. I'm going to be at 361 in Sunray UTL at the moment.
Please,
That identifies early.
PHP, just continue traveling up 361. We're about a mile away from Sunray.
Check what? Okay, 95 times 4, clear, courthouse, yeah.
660, 10-4.
Five, 10, and 10, 8.
That identifies early.
510, 10-4.
Yeah, okay, customer, thanks for being on the list. Three Charles 1006, show me 23 at 1050. 3 Charles 1006, show me 23 at 1050.
1006, 10-4.
DC 930 dispatch.
26223.
Recent kernel, recent drivers, so you should be able to run that on any computer without any problem. So to conclude on Cosmic and Pop OS, I love what they've done. It is a fantastic first draft of a desktop. It is still a first draft. The applications are bare bones, the settings are very bare bones, and you can clearly see that some stuff is not animated as it should be, some stuff isn't as smooth as it should be. There are some performance problems when opening and closing apps. Not sure if it's
Execute.
Right.
Receive.
21, can you start me an exhortation for the night?
Yeah.
Receive.
Negative, and I'll be looking for one now.
Go ahead. That's fine.
645. 645. Take care of the jail. 3503.
Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and I'd like to welcome all of you here to City Hall and to our council chambers. This morning, our invocation will be given by Pastor Steve Coronado with Solid Rock Church.
So
Pastor?
I'll just log in.
Let's pray.
And here we are back on
I understand this is the last meeting, right, of the year?
It is the last meeting of the year.
Going out with a bang.
Which I'll return to later.
Lord God, we are grateful today, so grateful for this year, 2025, and all the blessings that you have provided. Let us never forget, Lord, that you have been good to us. You have provided for us. You have blessed us. And so we are thankful and full of gratitude. As we close out this year and this final meeting, I pray that God, you would give our city and this council the preparation in their heart for a new year and a new Corpus Christi. A new year with new possibilities, new opportunities. Lord, thank you that you will provide everything we need. You are a God of abundance. And so I pray for these servant leaders, our mayor and all the city council, city manager, all those who serve our city. Lord, give them abundance mindset, knowing that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and that, God, you will provide everything we need. Give them leadership, guidance, wisdom, integrity today as they close out this year to prepare for a new year and a new Corpus Christi. We thank you and we bless you and we give you praise for all your goodness and love. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. And today our Pledge of Allegiance, to the United States flag and to the Texas state flag will be led by Mariah Garza. She is a 12th grader at Por Vida Academy, a dual credit student, and she plans to obtain a bachelor's degree in criminal justice.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in honoring the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mariah, thank you, and good luck with your studies. Thank you. Ms. Huerta, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Paulette Guajardo.
Present.
Council members Roland Barrera. Here. Sylvia Campos. Eric Cantu. Gil Hernandez. Kaylin Paxson. Ms. Paxson plans to join us by WebEx. I guess she's just not ready right now. Everett Roy.
Present.
Mark Scott. Here. Carolyn Vaughn. Here. City Manager Peter Zanoni.
Present.
City Attorney Miles Risley. Mayor and council, a quorum of the council, and the required charter officers are present to conduct the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. I want to, before we get going, a couple of things I just want to welcome. I know we have some guests from out of town. We have the Mathis City Manager, Cedric Davis, Robert Tafola, our Alice City Manager, Michael Esparza, Beeville City Manager, Andy Jocelyn, and Benny Puente, the Beeville Mayor Pro Tem. I know they're all here today, and in the spirit of getting you back to your cities to run those cities, we're going to move item 31 up after our board and committee appointments. So item 31 will be moved up right after we do our board and appointments. And thank you for joining us today, gentlemen. So with that, we're going to go back to section E, and that is our city manager's comments and update on city operations, items 1 through 7. That's a record, Mr. Zanoni.
I know, we had a lot of things happen last week, so we thought we'd get in front of the council on these items. So
thank you.
We do have 7 city manager report items. I'm going to do the first one, and then we'll have several presenters for the remainder. So we are going to put up the presentation, but this one here is our fourth quarter financial report, and this is for the prior fiscal year, for fiscal year 25, and that concluded at the end of September. So these are the last 3 months of that fiscal year. As you may recall, each of the quarters, after the conclusion of each of the quarters, I present to the city council, and we do a real good job. This city has done for many years putting out a financial report. So this is a 73-page document that I'll summarize in a few minutes with the council, but this is available for the community. It's on our website, and it's distributed to council as well. So we are going to talk to you about the fourth quarter report. These are unaudited figures. Make sure this is up here. These are unaudited figures through the period of October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. All figures that I'll discuss today are preliminary because there is a comprehensive year-end closeout process, but these are preliminary numbers. And the financial information assumed, or the financial information presented today primarily has been assumed in the development of the 26 budget. So any revenues in excess of budget and any expenditures less than plan generally have been assumed in the 26 budget development. So our year-end closeout for fiscal year 25 is guided by state law and certain requirements of the City Council. We began the financial audit on October of 2025, and that's done by an outside auditing firm. It's not the internal city auditor. It's a company we've used for several years now, Weaver and Associates. So it's an independent financial audit that's done on our books, essentially, and provides some separation of control to make sure our finances are in good shape. By December now, we're finalizing the initial year-end closeout process with all the city departments and the finance department. And then in March, the annual comprehensive financial report that the auditor assembles and produces, that'll be presented to first the audit committee and then the full city council. And you may remember last year we handed out the books to you all, and we're going to do a little bit pre-work with you this year to sit down with you to go through that audit report because it does have a lot of good financial information in there. So this morning I'll cover some of the major funds, starting with our general fund, and you've seen this chart before, but this is our general fund revenues for last fiscal year. The details in the middle, but if we look at the bottom row, we budgeted $334 million for last year. When we were developing the budget this summer, we assumed pretty much that $334 1.4 million. But as we close out the year and receive all the revenues that we either anticipated or didn't anticipate, we're closing the year 6.5 million better, which is good. That's a good Christmas present for the city. And you can see in the detail why that is 6.5 million better. We received a little bit better collections in our property tax from the appraisal review board process. Our sales tax came in a little bit better, which is good. We were real close in that one. Solid waste brought in a little bit more revenue from recycling and from disposal revenue from our private haulers. The interest, interfund, and intergovernmental transfers, a big amount of that is from fire department deployments, where you may recall through the summer months and earlier times in the year, we deployed based on the state request for services, and then we get reimbursed, and so those monies have been deposited there in that account. So the revenues are looking good, the 6.5 million better. This chart here on the next slide just shows you graphically. Councilwoman Campos asked that we do this several quarters ago. So the big takeaways is we really only have two major revenue sources: property tax, industrial district in lieu of, which is a form of a property tax revenue of sorts, and then sales tax. Those two revenues comprise more than 50% of our revenues, and then you can see some of the others, including our solid waste fee. On this next slide here, this shows us the story for the year end for our general fund expenditures. And the same thing, if we look at the bottom, the budget for fiscal year 25 was $363 million approximately. We estimated a little bit less than that based on spending trends through the summer months this summer at $354.7 million. And when we close everything out, we're just under 350, so $349.3 million, so a little bit better on spending, which is good. We don't want to under-invest in the community. And so a good benchmark is when you close the year, if your variance is up to about 5%, then that's generally a good practice. The variance that we see here at the 349 is 1.5%. From the assumed variance, so that's good. We don't want to be we don't want to underestimate what we're going to spend and come in over, but you also don't want to come in with a lot of excess funds, because that might mean you're not providing to the community what we said we would. And so the unaudited actuals of 349.3 is 5.4 million less spending, which is more revenue to the city essentially to help us off in the 26 budget. It was pretty, there's nothing really that jumps out. There's a few areas to highlight, including the other revenue. That's the industrial in lieu of refund that we had to book in the prior year, as we talked to you about over the past couple of quarters. On this pie chart here, you can see public safety is our most basic and largest expense in our general fund. That includes our police and fire, and it's pretty consistent across Texas and municipal governments. Public safety is the biggest part of your budget. Streets, and then solid waste, you can see there as well. So this summary chart here summarizes the beginning balance and the ending balance in the next chart. And this is what you generally look for when you do a year-end closeout. The question is, how close did we come to what we thought we would be the ending mark for 25? And so if you walk through this, the beginning balance for 25 budget was $96.6 million, with our revenues and expenses that were planned not planned, but the actual, and then the carry forward, rollover or carry forwards, that's for planned expenditures that haven't quite hit the books yet, so we'll carry the budget forward. 6.5 million when you take the beginning balance plus the revenues minus the expenses minus the rollover. 88.3 million is the ending balance. Actually, the ending balance is 88.3 million is what we assumed. Actually, that is the ending balance. Sorry, the estimated ending balance was 76.4 million. And so we do better by close to 12 million, 11.9 million, which is good. 6.5 million better. Okay, and so that was the general fund. The hotel occupancy tax revenue is the other one we look at closely. This one is going to be a little bit hard to explain. You can see that the budget was 19.9 million. We estimated 19, and we knew that. We expected to come in less than budget for the hot tax based on less bookings through the summer months. The actual, though, was 20.2 million, which is more than the estimate, and that's because we're finally booking the revenues appropriately, and so you have to record the revenues in the months that they're actually earned, and so we had to book to get this thing caught up a 13th month. And that's what the finance department and our external auditors recommended. And so for only this fiscal year, we'll have these 13 months. This will eventually be lost in the transition as we go to the next fiscal year, where we'll have 12 months. And then in our two utility funds that are of high importance to us, the water fund and the wastewater. The water fund, the revenues were 169.6 was the budget. We estimated less than that, but actually came in just a little bit over the budget at 169.9. And then on the expenses, similarly, we had a budget of 181.7 million. We estimated a little less, but actually we'll close out the year at 173.2, which is still under the budget. Some of that variance is from more chemical costs than what we anticipated. Also, we booked some of the water supply projects in this budget to include acquisition of property where we have some of our western wells. And then in the wastewater fund, similar story, pretty decent here. The revenues were 98.6, and we estimated a little less than that, but actually came in just under the budget, 98.2, and so that's good. And then on the expenses, 116 million was the budget, but savings both in the estimate and then in the actual at 110.6. And then transitioning to the other part of our budget, which is our capital improvement plan. These are large projects that are primarily funded through voter-approved bond programs, or we don't show them here, but our utility operation has a lot of capital investment as well. So 3 bond programs that the voters overwhelmingly approved are listed here: the 2024 bond, the 2022, and the 2020. If we look at the 2020 bond program, almost all projects are completed. 38 projects are completed there, 4 are finalizing construction. In the bond 2022, that was 125 million overall, 32 projects, 7 projects complete, 11 are under construction, and 14 are nearing completion on design. And then the most recent bond of 175 million with 38 projects, 8 projects are under construction, 28 are under design, including 2 other projects that were in pre-design. So on the summary for the fourth quarter financial report then, the general fund revenues and expenses are consistent with the projections, except for that close to $12 million, which is good. That additional money we'll use in the 27 budget, so it's good to start off a little bit better than what you thought. We'll have to see how the economy continues through this year. We don't recommend spending any of that money, rather saving it to begin the next budgeted year, and that's the position we want to be in. This is actually a good news story for this city. Heart revenues are consistent with projections. Water, wastewater revenues are consistent, and then we continue strong delivery of those, of the CIP program. Okay, so the next steps for financial planning here for the City Council. There's actually some pretty big ones coming up as we look at the 27 budget. But we will be back in February with the first quarter budget and financial report for the current fiscal year. That'll be October, November, December. And then in March, that's when we'll present to the council, first the committee and then the full council, our comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year 25. And then early 2026, our budget process is going to begin again for the 2027 budget. And that includes our financial forecast that we'll present to City Council, showing us the projections for the next couple of years. We'll do budget goal settings with the City Council, as we've done just about every year. And then we're going to do what this council's asked for, as well as more community engagement earlier in the process. So we'll keep the council and the community informed on that, because we'll want their participation in some of their goals for the next budget. And Mayor, that concludes this presentation. And I'm here, and I think Amy's here too. Amy and John are here from the budget office. If we have any questions I can't answer, they'll help.
Thank you, Peter. I don't see any. Councilwoman Campos, a comment?
Just a statement. I just wanted to say thank you so much for including the community engagement. I I don't know how soon we're going to get started on that, but that is super important because I think the community is very engaged. As you know, we have, as I understand it, I mean, thousands of people watching what we do. So I think it's important that they participate as part of the budget. So again, thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
But the only thing is, do we know when we're going to start? Because when does the city staff?
Yeah, so March timeframe, Councilwoman. The March timeframe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Is that soon enough, or? Yeah.
Only because if the city staff is starting in March, then maybe we need to be started in February. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I need to know.
Right, well, so we'll have one of the first things we'll be working on early next year, January, is that comprehensive calendar, and we'll show that to council probably one of these first council meetings.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you, Mayor. We're going to turn now to item number 2, which is a timely item. It's restaurant licensing and inspection fees, and our health director, Dr. Anita Curian, is going to present this to council. The reason we're presenting it today is we're mandated by the state through this last legislative session to change some of our fees for restaurant and food handling inspection. And there's a whole set of, there's like I think it's 30 or 60 days of comment period. And so as we inform the restaurateurs and food handlers and other businesses, you may get questions. So we wanted to make sure you knew what's going on here. So that's why we're presenting this today. A memo was sent last week that nicely summarizes this, but Dr. Anita is going to brief the council and to some extent the community too who's watching. There'll be a series of revenue changes for some of the inspection and food handling fees. So, Doctor.
The driver manager to install the right drivers for the in-video.
Morning, Mayor and the council. As Peter mentioned, I'm here this morning to update you on the fee updates that we are proposing with regards to the local food establishments. And this is to ensure compliance with the Senate Bill 1008 that took effect in September 1, 2025, earlier this year. So.
The settings are very bare bones, and you can.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get oriented to this place.
Some stuff isn't as smooth as it should be. There are some performance problems when opening and closing apps. Not sure if it's.
Okay. Here's the overview of the Senate Bill 1008 that I was mentioning earlier. During this last legislative session, the Texas legislature enacted the Senate Bill 1008, which establishes limitations on the authority of the local governments, entities, that includes municipalities, public health districts like us, counties, etc., to impose fee related to the regulations of the food service industry. So specifically, Senate Bill 1008 lays out that local entities cannot charge their local food service establishments a fee that exceeds what state is currently charging. So what you will see here today is our effort to do a comprehensive review of our fee schedule. We've already completed that. Our effort to align with the legislative intent, which is the Senate Bill 1008 that took effect in September 1, 2025. Many jurisdictions, almost all major cities in the state of Texas, have already done this. They are in compliance with this state bill that took effect earlier this month. This is our effort to do the same here as well.
For the update for the Cosmic desktop from Cosmic's repos, you already have.
Here's the food service establishment permit fee that contrasts what our current fee is, what the state fee is, and what we are proposing. So the table on the left lays out our current food establishment permit fees, which are currently based on the number of employees. So an establishment that has about less than 10 employees currently get charged a permit fee of $225 here locally by us. And as the number of employees increase, you see the increase in the permit fee. So permit fee here locally varies from $225 to anywhere up to $880, again, depending upon the number of employees that the food service establishment has. We also charge establishments that sell pre-packaged, non-hazardous food, which is your shelf-stable food items that don't need any temperature or time control for safety measures. These are your bag of chips or your bag of beef jerkies, candies, etc. that get sold in your local hardware stores or your retail pharmacy stores, even dollar stores. So at this time, we currently do permit those entities and charge them a permit fee of $125. The table on the right shows what state is doing currently, and this is the intent to align with what state is doing with regards to these permit fees. As you can see there, state does not use the number of employees as a criteria to determine the permit fees. They use the gross annual food sales to determine what a permit fee should be for that particular establishment. So those permit fees range from $258 to $773. So an establishment that makes less than 50,000 gross annual food sales should get a permit fee charged of $258. An establishment making more than 150,000 or reporting more than 150,000 gross food annual sales get a permit fee of $773, which is what the state is doing. The column on the far right is what we are proposing, which, as you can see, mirrors exactly what state is doing. Again, this is to align with the state legislation that has gone into effect. Here are food service establishment inspections and re-inspections fees. As you see up there, inspection fees are only applicable to new establishments, and these are conducted to verify compliance with health and safety standards before an establishment starts serving food, becomes operational. So right now, we don't charge any fees for these inspections, although we provide the service here currently in our jurisdiction. State allows us to charge up to $150 for those inspection fees. We are proposing a fee of the inspection fee of $100 at this time, again to align with what the Senate bill requires us to do. Re-inspections, we define re-inspections as a follow-up visit to confirm that previously cited violations have been corrected and the establishment is back in compliance. Again, we provide the service on regular basis here. Currently, our fee is $50. State allows us to charge up to $200, and we are proposing a fee update of $150. Again, I hope you appreciate that we are trying to take a balanced approach to covering our costs, not playing undue burden on our small business owners, yet aligning with the legislative intent. Next one that you see up there is the food service establishment amendment fee. Amendment includes a change in the name or change of ownerships of a food establishment. We, again, currently provide this service. We do amend these. About 5% of our businesses go through these amendments annually. We do provide the service, but we have never been charging for this service. So state does do an amendment fee. Again, it's based on the gross food annual sales, and you see up there the amendment fee range from $125 to $375, depending upon your gross annual food sales. We are proposing to mirror what state's charging at this time. Here's a mobile food unit permit and amendment fees. Currently, mobile food units in our local jurisdiction get charged a permit fee of $260. $140 of that $260 is the health permit fee. $120 of that $260 is the vending permit fee. State does not make this distinction. State charges a flat fee of $250 for mobile unit permits. We are proposing to do the same. Again, like brick and mortar, we have never charged for any amendment fees. State does allow us to charge a flat fee of $125 for every amendment to the existing permit that is made. We are proposing to do the same, charge $125 for every amendment that comes to our attention. Here's the temporary food establishments, and this is currently the table on the left lays out what we do currently. So a single event, a one-day single event with a 5-day notice gets charged a permit fee of $35 currently. For each additional day of the event, we charge $15. Say, for instance, there is a temporary event for 3 days. The temporary event vendor gets charged $35 for the first day of the event and $30 for the additional 2 days of the event. And we also charge a late processing fee of $70 if the payment is made less than 5 days before the initial start date of the event itself. In contrast, if you see on the table on the right, state does something different entirely. State charges a flat fee of $52 for a temporary event permit, and they define a single temporary event as an event that could last anywhere from 1 to 14 consecutive days. So if a vendor is applying for a single event that could last up to 14 days, they get charged a permit flat fee of $52. They also provide the temporary event vendors an option to pay $200 for a permit, for a single event permit that's valid for a period of 2 years. So they can pay $200 and have as many single events as possible during that 2-year time frame. We are proposing to do the same again. This is to align with the state law that's gone into effect already. And in accordance with the Senate Bill 1008, if you notice, we are proposing to eliminate that late fee. State does not charge a late fee, and we are going to do the same as well. That's a proposal. Here's the school-based establishment fees. Currently, we inspect about 109 public schools, but have never charged for those inspections. And these are inspections that every school is required under state law. They're required to have 2 inspections per calendar year, and we've never charged for those services that we provide. State charges $150 per inspection, and we are proposing to do the same as well. For private and public schools, state charges a flat fee of permit fee of $258. We currently do not charge any permit fee, but we are proposing to do exactly what states been doing.
If you have information that you think might be able to assist in our investigation, please give us a call.
Here's an administrative note disclaimer. I just want to point out that all the proposed city food service related fees that are presented today, the proposed fees, they're subject to change depending on the state fee schedule updates. And again, this is to keep in alignment with the Senate Bill 1008, which clearly states that anytime state changes the fees, we are required to change to match the state fee. I know that state does these annual review of their fee schedules. But the timing of this or when the finalized fee schedule is going to be released is uncertain. It's not clear or publicized anywhere. So the urgency for us is to comply with the state law, to achieve that statutory compliance that we were required to achieve back in September 2025. And so these proposed changes that we are recommending today, or that we are seeing today, is exactly that, to align with the legislative intent and achieve and maintain that statutory compliance that we are required to do. Here are the next steps towards implementation of the proposed fee, pending your approval and adoption of these proposed fees. Want to point out that we are required, again, Senate bill just does not lay limitations on what fees we can impose on our food establishments here. They've also included a stakeholder engagement requirement, which says that we are required by law to give all our partners, which are our food establishments, our schools, including the state, a 60-day notice before we implement any changes. And so our 60-day, the clock starts ticking tomorrow, December 17th. By December 17th is when we will finish mailing out all our proposed fee updates, including why we are doing this. A cover letter will clearly state why we are proposing these changes, and those will be mailed out to all our food establishments, our mobile food units, to schools, including the state. We also met with their representative from the local restaurant association last week. He's aware of these proposed changes. He was actually on the committee that worked with the state directly to craft some of the key provisions of the law. So this Senate Bill 1008 was actually put in place, was lobbied and put in place and fully supported by the Texas Restaurant Associations, primarily to standardize food establishment regulations across the state. So this should not be any surprise for them. It was not a surprise for the rep from the Restaurant Association that we met. He's committed to sharing that proposed fee schedule with the rest of the board members as well. And all the mailing out, all the notifications will be completed tomorrow. So our 60-day clock starts ticking tomorrow, and it should end sometime mid-February. That is when I'll be up here presenting this again for your approval as well as adoption. And along with the fee schedule, we are also working closely with the legals to update the ordinance to reflect these proposed fee updates as well. And so first reading is, you see the dates up there, by late February, if approved, it will be adopted and implemented. The new proposed fee schedule will be implemented on March 2nd, 2026. And within 30 days, which is again a requirement of the Senate Bill 1008, within 30 days of implementation, now local municipalities are required to send the state to update their state registry with our updated fee schedule and our ordinance. So that pretty much concludes this presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Curran. We appreciate the presentation. Councilman Cantu.
Thank you, Mayor. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the state is just asking us or telling us to change the fees?
State is telling us it is state law. So the law took effect on September 1, 2026. So it is required under state law that we comply and match our fees to that of the state fees.
So we have to match these fees?
Yeah, if you look at the, yes, we have to match these fees, especially if they're drastically different. If you look at our restaurant permit fees, right now our permit fees based on number of employees. State does the gross annual food sales, so we have to
because right now for a small restaurant, which the state's out of touch with the restaurants here in Corpus Christi. We have 10 restaurants went out of business, chain restaurants, and now we have small businesses struggling. 1 through 10 was a pretty reasonable price, $225. And they probably average about $150K a year, $500 a day, $15K a month. But for a small business like that, they're going to end up paying $800.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. And again, once again, I want to stress, this is something that the state did not decide, we did not decide. It's the Texas Restaurant Association that lobbied to standardize all the regulations across the state. And so one of the byproducts is exactly what you're highlighting. Yes.
Miles, do we have to follow these prices?
These are maximums, but however, what changed, they're maximums, but keep in mind, they changed the basis for the charge. Therefore, because you changed the basis for the charge so dramatically, you don't have the option of just relying on your old fees. Because it's simply, you can't, we charge based on number of employees, they charge, the new state regs require the charge to be on the basis of the maximum of the income.
So the maximum is $773 for $150,000 or more. So we could charge $300 if we wanted to.
Right. Yeah, the answer is yes, Councilman. So there'll be a lengthy discussion on the business of this with the council in that February timeframe.
Yeah.
These are recommended based on our local economy, other entities in the state of Texas, and then the cost to go out and inspect. So we have to show you the other side of the equation, which is that if we don't collect enough revenue from the actual inspections, then it's going to have to come from other sources in the general fund. Meaning we'll have to cut somewhere else potentially to be able to.
I think we need to cut it because it's a lot of money for small businesses here in Corpus Christi. I mean, there's restaurants going out of business today. I mean, it's tough to run a restaurant nowadays, and everything's so expensive. But I will not support this. You got to bring something better than $773. I mean, that's going to be the average if you have 1 through 10 employees, because if they're not making $150,000 or more a year, they're not going to be in business. I mean, everyone's making that kind of money, $500 a day. I'm more than sure that all these restaurants and small cafes are making at least $500 a day. But charging $773, I think that's ridiculous. That's a lot of money. Thank you.
Councilwoman Vaughn.
Well, I'm sure the state did this because there were some cities that were charging way too much. Corpus Christi obviously isn't, and I agree with you. I think what they're telling us is you can charge the max. That's the maximum. You can go under that. So I'm hoping that you bring something back because I don't want to beat them to death. We're charged so much by federal, state, local taxes. We need to try and be fair. So I'm hoping you come back with some things that are lower. I certainly do not want to charge the maximum. Thank you.
Councilwoman Campos.
I just want to echo what my fellow council members are saying because, here we have the state with a $33 billion surplus, and then nickel and diming again us, the small business. And I know that it's probably to the bigger cities, but again, I think we need to do a little bit better with our own small businesses and restaurants and so forth. So, I'm really looking forward to a robust discussion. And hopefully the restaurateurs will be listening to this and want to get more involved.
Peter, you said in February you're going to bring this back to really holistically
Right, yeah,
look
so
at
let me just double check that here. Yeah, so in February 17 is a planned first reading.
Okay.
Yes, and if we can maybe put that slide up. There's a 60-day stakeholder notice that begins in December 17. That's why we're presenting this to you today, to put it on our radar, because the stakeholder communities, i.e. the restaurant owners, schools, and mobile vendors will start getting information from us. There's 60 days that we have to give them to give comment, and then we'll come to City Council on February 17th for the fee adjustments. We'll do some meetings with the council if you have questions, because we do have to show you the other side of the equation, which is the expense. This is a public health. The reason the public health director is presenting is no chance. It's a public health issue. We want to make sure our restaurants are safe. That's why they do the inspections. We don't want foodborne illness and people getting sick. So there's a cost to doing the inspections, and generally the revenues to pay for that comes from the fee. So we have to show you that. So if we want to have fees that are less than what it takes to cost, less than what it takes to do the service, it has to come from somewhere else. And that could come from other services, parks, libraries, that type of thing.
Right.
So, but we'll bring that whole plan to you in February.
Right, and I think the reason you don't have the whole plan is because
This is not the point for it, right? This is just to put it on the radar that, hey, the state passed legislation. Dr. Carrion came in and said we're a little behind in implementing this, and so she's fast-tracked it. As she's in the beginning of her comments said, a lot of cities have already implemented this. We haven't. We're a little behind, so we're doing it. We're charging the current fee today, or no more than the maximum amount today.
Or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll show you the entire business of it, and we'll do some one-on-one briefings.
Right.
We appreciate what the council members are saying up here.
Well, I was going to say, I think the one-on-one briefings on something
Yeah.
like this is critical.
Yeah.
And I think that other piece of the plan,
Yeah.
we absolutely have to have that in order to see what,
Right.
how do you balance this?
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you. Councilman Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of this should be based on cost of service, right? What does it cost to do inspections?
Yeah.
I looked at your budget. The revenue you get from food service permits is about $600,000 a year, right?
Yeah. It's close to 703 to be precise, and some change. So round it up to 700,000.
That's how much it costs you to do these inspections?
No, that's the revenue that we collected. That's been projected and collected in the past. Our environmental health services, we have 7 health inspectors. The entire budget for that is about close to 913,000, so close to 900,000. These 7 inspectors do about annually 7,000 inspections annually. So it's 7,000 inspections per inspector, which I can tell you in other jurisdictions where I've worked. This is overstretching and overworking this staff resources that we have. Per inspection costs about $150. So if you do the math, we are not even breaking even with the amount of budget city funds that are allocated towards this program.
Okay, so for us, with because we want to make sure the fees are consummate with the cost of service. So if you can, when you come back to us on that, have that presentation included as to how much it costs us for the inspectors, all the associated costs for the inspections, and then reflect that in the fees. What we don't want to do is be punitive in the sense of getting an arbitrary number just because the state is doing something. We want to make sure it's tailored to us and that we're charging appropriately for what it costs us. So that's simple to do. You take your cost and you extrapolate that into your fees. So simple enough, Peter?
Yes, Councilman. I think that's what they began to do when they developed these recommendations today.
Okay.
Yeah, but
just show us the math.
We will. That's what we're going to do. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Scott. I just want to give my opinion. I don't think the taxpayers should subsidize these costs. And I don't think the general fund or the sales tax fund, any of that should have to pay for this. I think it's a cost of service, and whatever it is whatever it is. So I wanted to get that point out.
And Councilman Boyd.
Thank you for your presentation. The only thing I want to add to what Councilmember Hernandez said is that can we also look at comparing? I mean, I can't imagine, you said that the state has put this in place all across the state, but I know that
the American people will have any
it doesn't seem like if you take a smaller city or you compare. So I'd also like to see a comparison. We usually compare what the top 7 or 8 cities, kind of get an idea what they're doing and what their fees are. And also, in addition to looking at our expenses, and if we could trend that more than just going back 1 year, but we could go back at least 3 years, I'd like to look at that in comparison so that we get a real good feel of the trend.
Okay, Councilman, we can do that.
I can tell you I'm coming from San Antonio, and just have to say this, we implemented exactly what was presented here today. And then the other point I wanted to make, and thank you for bringing that up, I mean, if we don't match these fees, I can emphasize enough that then the burden then the revenue has to come from some other source to compensate for the expense of running this program. And we did the math, even with the proposed fee, all we are seeing is an increase of about $84,000 from our previous revenues. So that is still coming way below our expense of running the program.
We have Kaylin Paxson, Councilwoman Paxson. She's online, and she'd like to ask a question.
Thank you. I hope everyone can hear me. Looking at the presentation, I had kind of 2 key concerns. My first was, I'm not sure that this was delivered as it was intended. My understanding of this bill is because there's so many cities across the state of Texas that the permitting, the fees, everything has become so burdensome and complicated. It's very difficult for small businesses to navigate and operate, and it can be, in many instances, taxing, overtaxing. So my understanding is that the state took that into consideration, and that's probably why the Texas State Restaurant Association is behind it, because it's trying to provide a streamlined system and equity of costs. I don't think it's fair for us to position that the state did this with the intent behind mandating that all cities follow this fee schedule. Are you in a position that you can say that they are mandating that fee?
So some of the permit fees, it's the law. It's a law that says
the state is requiring that we charge these fees, and we had a council member ask for clarification, and I don't think that's a fair representation. Like our legal said, these are maximums, and I am not going to be someone in favor of implementing so many fees that it burdens our local businesses. We've been offering these services. What I didn't see in the presentation is if there's a gap presented between service
Not so on Windows. You
and
will
what
need
this new
to
bill
install
is saying
drivers
that
to
we need to
get
provide
anything
the services.
resembling
We
a
do,
good
we go out
quality
and we
print
inspect,
or
we do all
scan.
those things.
Either the manufacturer will have
What
a
you're
CD,
asking us
in
to
which
do
case
is
I
increase
hope
the
you can use
fees.
that, or you'll have to hunt online through cryptic websites
And I don't
and
think
find
that
the
I don't
exact
think that all
model
cities are
among
created
200
equal.
different
I don't
ones
think that
that
this
have
was
almost the
intended
same
for us
serial
to
number.
jump so high in our
macOS
fees to
might
catch up with what the
also work
state
without
averages. The
installing
state is
specific
putting those
drivers,
numbers in
but
there for the cities that are overcharging. So Peter, when we bring this item back, that's what we need to take into consideration.
Yes, Councilwoman, we hear you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Cantu.
Charlie 270 clear.
I've got a couple questions real quick. How many inspectors do we have in Corpus Christi? Health inspectors?
Inspectors, we have, our program is 10, including managers, 2 admins, so we have 7 inspectors who are actually out in the field doing the job.
7, you said, right?
7.
7 for the entire city?
Yes.
Doing on the streets?
On the streets, yes, and doing 7,000 inspections annually. So the restaurant inspections is not the only thing they do. They do septic, they do pool, they do foster home inspections, jail inspections. There are a number of other plant reviews. There are a number of other, in addition to addressing complaints that we get on daily basis. So,
is there a reason why when they do a inspection at a restaurant, there's 2 people with them? It's not just one person? Because I've been to 2 restaurants last week and I saw 2 people each time doing an inspection. Is there a reason why we have 2 people doing one inspection?
When somebody's training, we have turnovers, so not turnovers. So the new person is always following an experienced person until we deem them competent to do it.
How long does that take for them to understand the whole process?
Say that again?
How long does it take for them to understand the whole process?
It varies from person to person, but typically between 4 to 6 weeks, you should be good. And know this too, not every person who takes this job is licensed as a sanitarian. They're required to take the licensing exam too within 1 year of employment. So it varies. Somebody who's licensed walking into the job, it may take only 2 or 3 weeks. But somebody who's not licensed may take 4 to 6 weeks, and then they have to be licensed to be completely independent as well.
Okay. Is there any local restaurant associations?
Yes.
Maybe I'll talk to them.
Yes.
Back in the 50s, one knew in Europe, we will have a
401 Volvo
sensing radar that's about that size, but with fully electronic steering down to the element level.